In today's episode, I share the fastest, easiest, and quickest way to get rid of our problems. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Live Mindfully podcast. I am your host, Laurie Moore, and I am so excited that you are here with me today. Before we get started, let's settle into this moment. Wherever you are, sit up nice and tall. Imagine little pockets of space between each of the vertebrae. Feel a grounding down through your sit bones, or if you're standing, through your feet. Feel connected to the surface beneath you. If you are able and it's safe to do so, close down the eyes or soften the gaze. And then place your hands to the center of your chest. And see if you can feel your heartbeat. And if not, just imagine what the sensation would feel like of your heart beating, your strong, loving heart. And now take a moment to think of one thing you are grateful for. A place, a person, a thing, anything at all, anything that brings a little smile to your face. And I truly mean anything. It might be a meme you read earlier that brought you a little joy, or simply the gratitude that you opened your eyes today, because many didn't. My grandfather would tell me that on the days gratitude feels hard, just be grateful for that. So hold this item that you are grateful for in the center of your mind's eye and in your heart. And feel the warmth of that gratitude in your belly. Invite that warmth to now spread from your belly outwards, out to the rest of your body. Let it touch your heart. Let it touch every space of you. Now take 3 deep breaths and focus on breathing to the sides of your body. Feel the sides of your chest expand with every inhale and contract with every exhale. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes or lift your gaze. I cannot believe we are, it's going to be Christmas on Monday. How exciting! I am so excited for Christmas. All of my gifts are wrapped. The caravan is nearly packed. The kids are excited. Those crazy elves will be leaving soon. They can drive me a bit nutty, those elves, with their cheek and everyone lifting their game. So I've spent the last week getting my health on track. You may have heard from last week's episode that my iron levels have dropped, so I am back on my supplements and feeling so much better. But I've also spent a lot of time this past week really drilling into my mindset and what my goals are for 2024 and the way I want to feel, which is one of the most important aspects of life for me. The other thing that I have done over this past week is watch, and not just watch, but study, really study. I took over 25 pages of notes. I know. When I go deep, I go way deep. I was watching Tony Robbins or studying Tony Robbins' I Am Not Your Guru on Netflix. And many of you may not know this, but I actually attended Tony's Unleash the Power Within back in September of 2019, and it was a phenomenal event. A little cultish, if I'm honest, but like a positivity cult where you deal with all your baggage and, would I recommend it? Yes and no. It was definitely not an event for everyone. And I was really lucky because I was gifted my tickets, so I didn't pay, but the price tag, it can be really expensive. So if you're thinking of doing something like that, I would really look into it to see if it is something that is suitable for you, and only you can make that decision. But Tony says in the Netflix, actually that's a good thing to watch. If you watch the Netflix special, that'll give you an idea if it's something that you would want to do in person. But Tony says something at the 25-minute mark that really got me thinking. He says, I'll tell everyone in this room what your problem is. You think you shouldn't have them. And when you hear something and it reverberates on every level of your being, like right to your soul, and you go, oh. And before I do anything, when I have that experience, I start to investigate theories and ideas against my own life, even if it is backed by tons of science. Because here's the thing, every scientific study is going to have outliers, and it's great if things work out for a majority of people, but every study, everything is going to say like 86% of people reported X, Y, and Z, and that's amazing. But that also means 14% didn't. And it can be a dangerous thing if we just assume we're going to be in the 86%. It gives some credibility to whatever theory they were testing, but we want to continue to use our brains here and have some discernment and decide for ourselves how that sits. Life is not black and white, and we don't want to blindly just accept that the way someone else is living their life is going to be right for us. But there is such a thing as group mentality, and when large groups of people report a positive outcome, it is very easy to be swayed by that and go along with that. And when we don't have the same results, it's also very easy to fall into the mindset, oh, it must be me. I'm the failure. And I was thinking about all of these things that Tony was saying, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, that's a mindset. I am a failure. I am not good enough, or I am not enough. This is a mindset reinforced again and again in our daily living, in most people's daily living. So yeah, maybe we do think we shouldn't have problems, because not only do problems make our lives hard, they also make us feel like failures. But then Tony swings in like Tarzan with this: problems are what makes us grow. Problems are what sculpt our soul. Problems are what make us become more. And you know what that is? That is called a reframe. Reframing the way you see something. Creating a new understanding of a concept or a problem or a challenge. And if you can reframe things, you take back power and control. You take back your ability to navigate them. And what I have noticed within myself, the art of reframing, is something I have practiced my whole life. Can I see this problem or this challenge or this difficulty in my life from a different perspective? And if I look at it from there, can I come up with a more creative solution? And the answer to this is yes. And I've done this my whole life. I waver. I forget this knowledge. I take a few hundred hits and I feel, squished into the earth. And if I'm honest, that kind of felt like my whole of my 30s. I took a lot of hits in my 30s, too many really. And I think my nature just invited too many narcissists, and I ended up with a lot of negative people around me. But what an experience that was. I learned more in my 30s than I honestly think I will learn in any other decade of my life. There were so many pain points, and there was so much personal growth. And I kind of think that's what your 30s are for. So I'm grateful that I've gone through that. I'm grateful that I'm now in my 40s. But living from this space of reframing problems, rewriting painful moments, it's a remembering that I am in control of how I react. I am in control of how I view this. Nobody else, and it does not matter how someone else views this, it could be completely off kilter, the way they view it. But I am not living their life. I am living my life. And when I come at things from this space, I usually find emotion and those tempering feelings dissipate much quicker, because I have moved from viewing this as a problem and maybe even an unsolvable problem. I have switched the thinking in my brain from problem to solution mode, and away from problem fixation mode. I still feel the feelings, but I don't get stuck there. So in my understanding of Tony's words that we don't like problems, Tony's right. We don't like problems. Of course we don't like problems, but it is not because we are not capable. We solve problems every day. It is because our mindset becomes fixated on the fact that all the live long day we have problems. And yes, of course we do. Some we created. Some others created. Some maybe God created. It doesn't matter. A problem is a problem. And if it is our problem, and there's some discernment there, is it our problem? If it is our problem, then we have to solve it. And when I wake up feeling unmotivated or beat down by life, and I don't have a positive project I am working toward, and I don't see myself in the space of lightness and love, and I don't have a daily ritual that reminds me of my strength, darkness can pull me into her depths. And when I reach those spaces, I feel quite easily swayed by the thoughts and feelings and opinions of those around me. I feel quite easily swayed by my own negative bias. And I understand why this happens. The brain is always seeking to protect us. And if the brain is running the show, it will show you all the dangers. That is the brain's job. But our brains shouldn't be running the show. Our brains are always learning. Our brains will respond to what we feed it, which means we are running the show. We should be. And all of this comes back to how much you are strengthening the biggest asset in your life, your mindset. Are you living in this present moment? Is life happening for you, or is life happening to you? Are you designing the life you really want? Or are you simply letting life take you for a ride? Are you the driver, or are you the passenger? If you look at all your problems right now, and I want to add a little disclaimer here, there are going to be things happening right now that are outside of your control, that are going to require you to be reactive instead of proactive. But this doesn't mean it is entirely outside of your control. There are still many things that are inside of your control. You can allow your emotions to take over and for your brain to dip into survival mode, and you can make decisions from that space. Or you can decide what your next steps are going to be and how you want to be remembered for handling this problem by yourself, most importantly, and then by others. And I also want to add that from this space, we feel more energized because we feel more capable. When we feel defeated, we also feel depleted. And we lack the energy to even come up with creative solutions. So before hitting solution mode, you need to reframe the problem. And you reframe the problem by bringing conscious awareness and presence into this moment. Not, why is this happening to me? Not, I don't want to deal with another problem. You stop fixating on the problem and you see it as a bit of a gift. You reframe it. This is here to teach and test me, and I am ready for the challenge. And then you swing in like Tarzan, and you remember that problems are what make us grow. Problems are our teachers. Problems are here to invite us to become more, to show up in our lives and design the life we want. We take this problem and we turn it into energy. We turn it into opportunity. And from this mindset, from this headspace, we think through our next steps. We block out the noise. The world is so noisy. There is always going to be someone with an opinion. There is always going to be another Netflix special to watch and another reel on Facebook. All of that is noise and avoidance and escapism. Creative internal solutions come from inside of you. And they come because only you truly and intimately understand the problem, and the solution is usually going to be pretty unique to you as well. Albert Einstein says, if you have an hour to solve a problem, spend 55 minutes on the problem and 5 minutes on the solution. And why does he say that? Because when you understand the problem and you're in the right mindset, solutions usually flow pretty quickly. But they can only be heard when it's quiet. And if you understand the problem and nothing creative is coming, then you reach out to someone, one person who feels safe and knowledgeable and appears to be good at solving problems, and you ask for their help. And I can't help but wonder if we all operated from this space, if we programmed this into our soul and brains from the get-go, if we looked at life from the perspective of I am in control and I am designing my life and I am deciding the impact of these problems, and I am going to think through some creative decisions because I am deciding how my life is going to look and feel, would we even have time to feel not good enough, or not loved, or not appreciated? Would it even be a thought that entered our minds? Would our creative internal compass direct us away from situations and experiences and mindsets that lead us to feel those ways? Would we all be programmed to see fear, shake its hand, and use that fear to find the most appropriate, most creative solution for ourselves? And then, would there just start being a lot less problems in our lives? And that's just a little something that I am working on. Because what I have noticed is that when I have a strong mindset, I know I am capable of anything. When I have a strong mindset, boring, mundane, tiny, irrelevant problems don't sway me, don't unground me. When I have a strong mindset, I am fixated on creating and designing the life I want to live. Not the life my neighbor is living, not the life my best friend lives or my sister lives, the life I want to live. And when I am so fixated on this, when I spend time each day daydreaming and writing about what this life looks like, the washing doesn't bother me. The kids fighting doesn't bother me. The emails don't bother me. The to-do list doesn't bother me. These aren't problems. The washing means I have clean clothes. The kids fighting means I have an opportunity to be the parent and instill positive values in my children so they don't have to spend the rest of their lives fighting about things that don't matter. The emails mean someone is reaching out to me, usually for business. The spam I unsubscribe from. The to-do list means I have a life that is full of people I love and things I want to do. A life that I am designing, a life that I am creating. Day by day, minute by minute. And when we come up with creative solutions that don't shortcut, that are honest and authentic and true and just, we don't need to defend them against ourselves or others. Because from here, you start designing your life from a higher level of authenticity, and this leads to a rich life, not a problem-free life. But a life that you are designing, a life that energizes you. I want to leave you with a quote from the Mr. Walt Disney himself. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. And every problem is an opportunity to find a solution. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I am always so grateful to share these moments with you. I am keen to open up a new segment for 2024 called A Mindful Minute. It'll still be within this podcast. It's not a new podcast. I'm going to also introduce a Mindful Minute as a blog on my new website arriving in 2024. And the website is Lori Moore, LORIMORE.co, C-O. The idea behind this segment is if you have a problem or something that is happening in your life and you want to get a different perspective on it, primarily my perspective, you can email or DM me and I will answer it in an episode of this podcast or and in the blog, not or, and in the blog. And we can do that anonymously, or I can credit you. It's up to you. So you can reach me at hello@lorimore.co or find me on Instagram at lifewithlori_ or Facebook at Live Mindfully with Lori Moore. I'm also setting up a TikTok. I haven't done that yet. I will let you know. And I think it would be really fun and helpful. So if there is something happening in your life and you want a different perspective, hit me up. That brings us to the end of this episode. I want to wish you and your family a very, very Merry Christmas. I am going to take a break over the new year and we'll be back on Wednesday, the 10th of January. If you haven't already, jump back a couple of episodes and listen to 2024, the year of more, to get planning and designing the life you want to live. And if you have a pretty turbulent family Christmas possibly coming up, jump back into last week's episode and listen to what to do when people trigger you. From the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I'll see you in the new year. Until then, take good care of yourself.